Henry Castillo's line drive to right was caught on a dive by Willie Taveras, the 37-year-old who they just re-signed for the first time in a few years prior to Monday's game and playing in his second game here tonight. On the other side, Dan Miner was awesome and kept the game scoreless through the first 2 outs in the bottom of the 4th inning, but Cody Stanley singled on a ball that Castillo very nearly caught on a leaping attempt at second. It just hit off the end of his glove, went into right. And then on an 0-1 pitch, Miner's only mistake of the night, he left one up and over the plate on Dennis Phipps, who launched a 2-run homer to left center. And one day after hitting his crushing grand slam in the 9th inning yesterday, he gave Sugar Land a 2-0 lead. And those are the only runs. Miner came back to strike out the next hitter, ending the 4th, struck out the first 2 in the 5th when he went 1-2-3. Got the first out in the 6th inning, but then Juan Silverio, who's become a very hot hitter of late, he doubled, and Jason Martinson walked. Made it first and second, 1 out. Miner got Cody Stanley to hit one on the ground at third. Coronado made a nice backhand play, threw to second for the out. They could not turn 2, and that made it first and third with 2 outs. And Mace would go to the bullpen at that point, bringing Pat Young to the plate. Or to the mound, I should say. So I was distracted, saw Mace come over and talk to one of the members of Skeeters management back behind home plate, trying to figure out what's going on here with this situation. And I guess that man's being directed into the Revs dugout for some reason. I don't know if somebody that can help with this situation is in there or what the case is, but at any rate, down 2-0 with first and third and 2 outs. Mace called on Pat Young, who promptly came in and struck out Phipps, looking to strand 2 and keep it 2-0. And I didn't know for sure if they would bring Young back out. I figured they would, since they're kind of short-handed in relief tonight. And he went 1-2-3 in the 7th. And then I didn't think they would in the 8th, but they did. And he went 1-2-3 in the 8th. So Young, in his second appearance, went 2 1/3 perfect, retired all 7 in really one of the finest relief performances that we've seen all season from the Revs. Now the border of the Texas-shaped video board has the moving lights going around the perimeter, so if that's a separate power source, they have that back up and running. What we need, though, is stadium lights so that we can play. But Young was very good. The Revs bullpen obviously has been beleaguered. And one number that really stood out to me, crunching things earlier today, the bullpen in 72 1/3 innings has given up 77 runs. Now, only 69 earned, but that's a lot as well, an 8.59 ERA. And after yesterday's loss, the Revs have lost in, 12 times, but in 7 of those 12, they've had a lead at some point. Now, yesterday's situation was kind of unprecedented, obviously. That was the biggest 9th inning lead that had ever gotten away. The previous biggest was 3 2 years ago, and of course that was in this park also. But at any rate, the Revs in need of strong bullpen performances, and Pat Young, even if they lose this game tonight, what he did and what Miner did will be the story of the night. And now the stadium lights starting to flicker on. But that's how we've gotten to this point. On the other side, Skeeters pitching has also retired the last 7 Revs batters, with McGowan setting down his final 4, and in fact, 11 of his final 12. And then Kevin Comer in the 8th inning was mighty tough. He went 1-2-3 with 2 strikeouts. Now Paulino playing catch lightly. They can't really see too well, but they can see enough to toss it back and forth just to keep the arm moving. Over in front of the first base dugout, the lights one by one popping on. And it's a 2-0 game as we wait for the 9th inning to start. Got a gathering in center field as Skeeter fielders hang out. Some of the Revs hitters lounging on the grass in front of the third base dugout. Almost like you would see if they were sitting out watching fireworks. And now the field's starting to get illuminated again. Not nearly enough light to play just yet, but they're starting to come on. And they'll give Paulino time to throw. Before too much longer, they should be on at full force. Skeeters are now starting to retake the field. Silverio heading out to third. Paulino walking to the mound. Not bright enough, and now they're playing all of the lights. As Paulino goes through his warm-ups. Not bright enough for a hitter to stand in just yet, but brightening by the seconds here. So now it's the real deal as he, for the second time, goes through his pre-9th inning warm-ups. And the Revs, who have been shut out on 2 hits to this point, will try to make some noise against Paulino, who, again, in 7 innings this season, has allowed just 1 hit. No runs, 1 walk, 9 strikeouts, 3 saves, and 2 wins. 6 outings, 2 wins, and 3 saves. Well, the Revs did have a big comeback against him 2 years ago, and remember, Jared Mitchell was a big part of that. He's now playing center behind Paulino as the world turns. It'll be Skelton, Castillo, and Tejeda here as the Revs try to claw back, and now the lights are just about on at full force as they try to claw back and avoid a 2nd straight loss. Like we said earlier, one of my concerns tonight was sometimes when a team struggles, you get hitting, the pitching isn't there, and that was the case at least at the end of the game yesterday. And then when you get the pitching for 9 innings, the offense doesn't perform, and that has been the case tonight. Revs in danger of dropping 8 of their last 9. And this place has always been a house of horrors for them. It's been that way for a lot of the league, though. Teams don't score much here. What the Revs did the first 2 games, 8 runs and 9 runs. You'd figure 2 wins, but they only got 1, which is very frustrating. Skeeters last year, just to cite last season, they were 52-21 at home. And the Revs had a chance to put them at 5-7 at home for this season, but they got back to 500 at home yesterday, and now trying to take a 2nd straight against the Revs in much different fashion tonight. We're ready to go. Skelton digs in. He's 0 for 3 tonight. And a delay of 17 minutes complete. The first pitch is up and away for ball 1. Guess we never got to our out-of-town scores, did we? We'll do that post-game, which hopefully will not be too soon. Looking for a Revs rally. The 1-0. Skelton shows bunt, and it misses high and away again. So a 2-0 count to start the 9th inning. Paulino, 35 years old. Now deals home. And he got that one over. Strike called. It's his 3rd season with Sugarland. Set their single season record with 33 saves last year, which led the league. He was 2-2 with a 1.18 ERA. He fires and paints the outside again. Strike called. As Skelton rolls his eyes. He's been back there catching all night. He would know better than anybody where the borders are. Now the 2-2. And he swings and fouls it back. Paulino took the loss in the All-Star game last year when he was teamed with Revs on the Freedom Division side, but pretty dominant during the regular season. Another 2-2, and it just missed up and away. Good eye from Skelton, who works it full to start the ninth. If he gets on, the tying run comes to the plate right away. Now ready, and the 3-2, way high and outside. Skelton works his way on, and it's a leadoff walk to start the ninth inning. Now Henry Castillo to the plate. Tonight 1 for 3, 10-game hitting streak. Homered yesterday. They play some very soothing music as he comes to the plate. Who knows, maybe this gets him fired up. He was robbed of giving the Revs a 1-0 lead in the third, a potential 15th extra base hit for him, taken away on a dive in right. So he's swung it well again tonight. One hit to show for it. First pitch is outside. It's the top of the order for the Revs here in the ninth inning. Can they return the favor here tonight? Paulino ready. Long set and time finally requested. Skeeters 9-0 when leading after 8. Revs are 0-9 when trailing after 8. There's the stretch. Short lead for Skelton, the 1-0. And a swing and a bouncer to first, just foul. Grabbed by Jan Santi. Next to the bag, but clearly foul. Paulino second in Skeeters history with 49 career saves. He had 16 in 2017, 33 last year, actually including the 3 this season. He's now at 52 with Sugarland. Now delivers and misses high, 2-1. He has not been pinpoint to begin this ninth inning. Now ready. Long hold, delivers and misses high and away. 3 balls and a strike. He had only walked 1 in 7 innings coming in. During the winter, pitched for the Venezuelan Winter League champion Cardenales de Lara. Now the 3-1, and a swing and a foul back. It was a strike. Castillo swung away, fouls it back. And a full count. Tejeda, Nash, they await next. Revs down 2-0 in the ninth. Another 3-2, and a swing and a foul back against the netting. So he's gone to a full count on each of the first 2 hitters. Had to wait out the 17-minute electrical delay. Paulino, who first signed with Houston out of Venezuela in 2001. He deals, and a swing and a miss. A 3-2 slider. Fell straight out of the strike zone. And that's out number 1. Tough to expect a slider in that situation on 3-2. The Revs down to their final 2 outs now. Yeah, here's Tejeda. Paulino behind each of the first 2 hitters, walked the first one. And you don't want to help him out, but that was an almost impossible pitch to lay off. Looks like a strike. Got 2 strikes on you. Here's Tejeda, 0 for 2 with a walk. And the first pitch, fastball over for a strike. And that's the fear. Paulino came in not pinpoint, but is he now starting to find it? The bearded right-hander sets at the belt. Now the 0-1. And a swing and a foul tip to the net. Big rip from Tejeda. And Paulino now has 2 strikes on him. Paulino made his major league debut with Houston in 07. Was up with them in 09 and 2010 as well. And then with the Rockies, Royals, and White Sox after that. Now he's set. And the 0-2. Fastball, strike 3 called. And Tejeda does not like it one bit. Turns and hollers at Ken Leventhal. He's got the hand up with the index finger pointed initially as he makes his point. Turns for a few more words as he starts to walk away. Plate ump says that's enough. And the Revs are down to their final out. Very borderline, down and away, and he did not like it. Now the frustration continues, but Paulino still has to get through Telvin Nash, who tonight is 0 for 3. He is homered in each of the first 2 games in this series. He is the tying run. First pitch, breaking ball, tumbles low. Paulino, 97 big league appearances. One of the more experienced guys in the league this season. Back-to-back Ks after the walk. Here's the 1-0. Breaking ball, that's over for a strike. There's a bigger hook like a curveball. He's got fastball at 94, slider. A get-me-over curve there, evens things up. And now the 1-1. Breaking ball, swing and a miss. That was the slider, and it was letter high. But it was in, and Nash a little bit tied up. Couldn't connect on it. Revs down to their final strike. 1-2 with 2 outs in the 9th. They have been held to just 2 hits. Here's the stretch from Paulino. Now the 1-2. Fastball, strike 3 called. Outside corner again. It's been a big outside all night. And Tejeda and Nash both down looking on pitches they didn't think they could hit to end the ball game. Nash still standing there at home plate as he stares down the line as Leventhal walks away. And Felipe Paulino, after the leadoff walk, strikes out the next 3 to end it. And Sugar Land has taken the last 2. They win tonight by a final score of 2-0. Now the Revs fall to 5-13. They have lost 8 of their last 9. And they are held to 2 hits in the shutout loss tonight. I hope Pat Young's all right because he does seem to be favoring his glove hand as he walks toward the clubhouse. He's got it held close to his waist, and I wonder if that's what they were trying to direct that management person into the Revs dugout to take a look at earlier during that delay to check on him if it was one of the doctors here. As, man, did he light it up in his 2 1/3 perfect innings tonight, and hopefully that glove hand is okay. He heads over to talk with family or friends or both, being from this Houston area. But tonight, the Revs pitching was, on a normal night, with their offense doing normal things, more than enough to win. But on this night, the Skeeters pitching shuts them down and shuts them out as they are held to a season-low 2 hits. It's a 2-0 final. Stay tuned. Post-game show follows next.
There's a lot of talk out there about good health care. We all want a good plan. But step outside and take a good look at all those beautiful trees and shrubs in your yard. Do you have a plan to maintain their good health? Heritage Lawn and Landscape Care has a veteran staff of 12 fully licensed and trained tree health care professionals to rely on, including 10 certified arborists and 3 PA certified horticulturalists. So don't let your trees and shrubs fend for themselves against Mother Nature. Visit heritagelawnandlandscape.com and get world-class care right in your backyard.
You get in your car, and you start your car. You put the car in gear, and you go nowhere.
What the?
Because your transmission has failed, or you try and put it in gear and it makes an awful grinding noise, or you put it in gear and take off, but when it's time for the transmission to shift, the RPMs just go higher, but you aren't gaining any speed.
Dang it!
Now you've heard of the good-looking genius and the crew at Broadway Transmission, right here on the radio. But now all you have to do is go to www.broadwaytrans.com to arrange a tow right from the website, and in a flash, your vehicle is on its way to the recovery, and with the best tracked warranty in the industry. Easy financing, free towing with repairs, AAA authorized, and the most recommended family-owned transmission shop around since 1951.
Broadway Transmission will get your ship together and stand behind it too. Visit us on the web at BroadwayTrans.com or stop in and see how it's done.
Cannonball Charlie's ready. Are you? The Revs play here. Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 WOYK, York.
Revs fall tonight. It's a 2-0 final. Oh, that's cool. It's like Talvin's got a young fella following him toward the clubhouse. I know he has his son coming on this trip, but I thought his son was a little bigger than that young man that's trailing him toward the clubhouse. But tough night for the Revs offensively in this one after 2 big nights offensively here, but they only got 1 win out of it. Tonight they lose 2-0 and held to a season-low 2 hits. Paulino, who looked shaky, and went to 3-1 on Castillo, but came back to strike him out, got ahead of the next 2, and struck them out. And I know the hitters, both sides, didn't care for the outside strike all night. And again, that did go both ways tonight, it seemed, but with the tying run at the plate late, I know the last 2 hitters for the Revs didn't like it. And that's the way this one ends tonight. Paulino now in 8 innings has allowed 1 hit and has struck out 12 while walking 2. He has been dominant to begin his age 35 season. And after the leadoff walk, he was nailing his spots and nails it down here tonight. And we recap things. The Revs not much going offensively against Kevin McGowan, who went 6 scoreless on 2 hits last time out. Tonight, 7 scoreless on 2 hits. Revs got a 2-out double from Dotel in the 2nd and a 2-out single from Castillo in the 6th, and that was all. And it would have had a 1-0 lead in the 3rd if not for Willie Taveras making a diving catch on Henry Castillo's line drive to right. Robbed him of an extra base hit. On the other side, Daniel Miner, I think the Revs have to feel really good about the start he gave them tonight. He was in command all evening and had only allowed 2 hits and matched McGowan with zeros through the first 2 outs of the 4th inning. And that's when he ended up making his only mistake of the night. First, it was a Cody Stanley single that Castillo almost stole on a leaping attempt at second, but hit off the end of his glove. That kept the inning alive, and Dennis Phipps, with a 2-run homer to left center, put Sugar Land on top 2-0. And that turned out to be the only scoring tonight. Phipps with a crushing home run for the second time in as many games. Yesterday, the grand slam, obviously. Tonight wasn't crushing at the time, but it ends up being the only scoring. To Miner's credit, he retired the next 5 in a row after that home run, the first 3 of those on strikeouts. And then allowed a double to Silverio with 1 out in the 6th. He walked Martinson, but got a fielder's choice for the 2nd out. Coronado made a nice backhand play and threw to second. And Mace wasn't going to let him face Phipps again. He brought in Pat Young with 1st and 3rd, 2 outs, and Young struck out Phipps looking to end that 6th inning, and then was perfect in the 7th and 8th innings after that, retiring all 7 that he faced. But Sugar Land's bullpen was also airtight, as Kevin Comer came in, went 1-2-3 with 2 punch-outs in the 8th inning, and Paulino, after the delay and after a leadoff walk, struck out the side in the 9th inning. And back to Miner, his final line tonight, 5 2/3, 5 hits, just 2 runs, walked 1, and struck out 8, matching Troy Terzi for the most in a game by a Revs starter this season. Pitched well, and like we said a couple of times on the broadcast, with this offense on most nights, that is more than enough to get the win. But tonight, the Revs shut down offensively, and they fall by a final of 2-0. Revs fall to 5-13, 3-3 on the road. Sugar Land improves to 12-8, and 7-6 at home. And with Lancaster losing earlier, the Skeeters lead the next closest team in the division by 4.5, and they now lead the Revs by 6, and Southern Maryland by 5. So they have a comfortable lead early. Still, they have 50 games remaining in this half. The Revs have 52. But, man, York yesterday was a strike away from being within 3 games of first, and at the end of tonight, they find themselves 6 games back and will look to even this series in Game 4 of the 7 tomorrow evening. 2-0 is the final tonight. Post-game continues after this.
The York County Solid Waste Authority turns up the heat every day. On your garbage, that is. Advanced waste-to-energy technology is used to burn garbage at 1,800 degrees Fahrenheit in environmentally controlled combustion units. This reduces air emissions and produces electricity, enough to power 20,000 homes every minute of every day. Visit www.ycswa.com to learn more. In York County, garbage is power.
Maple Donuts knows police work is tough, from mundane traffic control to accident scene response and unknown dangers. And during National Police Week, May 12th through the 18th, Maple Donuts recognizes local law enforcement officers with special chocolate iced cream-filled peanut butter cup and custard delight blue line donuts. In appreciation, Maple Donuts offers a free donut to any on-duty officer. Maple Donuts says thank you to all our brave, dedicated officers.
Maple Donuts taste right.
The York Revolution plays here. Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 WOYK. First in York, first in sports.
Wrap things up tonight with our York Mitsubishi out-of-town scoreboard as the Revs fall 2-0 here at Sugar Land. In the Atlantic League, earlier today, Southern Maryland beat Long Island 5-3. Brandon Compton started and picked up the win, his first. Brett Marshall, the former Blue Crab and Skeeter, suffered the loss for Long Island. Matt Latos, the big league vet, with his second save for the Blue Crabs, who improved to 6-12. Long Island is now 2 back of Somerset at 13-7 because the Patriots, there's still just 1 back. The Patriots losing tonight, I should say, to High Point 3-1, as Seth Simmons got the win for the Rockers. He's 2-1. Thomas Dormany the loss, 0-2. Trevor Frank, his 6th save after the Rockers blew one in the 9th inning last night. And they get the win today and are back within 3 in the Liberty. Again, Long Island stays 1 back. Somerset, who had won 3 straight and 10 of 11 entering play tonight, falls to 12-4. And Lancaster loses at New Britain 5-4, as Barnstormers are now 4.5 behind Sugarland with a record of 6-11. So it's Sugarland 12-8 in the Freedom, Lancaster 4.5 back, Southern Maryland 5, York 6. And over in the Liberty, Somerset now 12-4. Lead is 1 over Long Island, 3 over High Point, and 5 over New Britain, who also tightens things in the standings with their win tonight. And take a look at the Major League scores as well, as the Yankees beat the Orioles tonight 5-3, the final at Yankee Stadium. Phillies lost at home to the Brewers. It was a 5-2 final. Red Sox have just beaten the Rockies 6-5 in 10 at Fenway. Looks like they just got a walk-off single. Rangers a 5-1 lead in Kansas City in the 7th inning. Dodgers on top of the Padres, 2-0 in the 3rd. The Twins hung on after the Angels scored 3 in the 9th. Twins win 8-7 at Target Field. Diamondbacks crushed the Pirates 11-1. Zach Greinke took a shutout into the 8th, but had to leave with their athletic trainer, apparently, with an injury situation of some sort. Giants edged the Blue Jays 4-3 in an interleague game. Actually, I should say the Orioles and Yankees a doubleheader. Orioles lost the first one 5-3, as Gleyber Torres hit 2 home runs. The Yankees hit 4 as a team. And then they lose in the second game 3-1, as Torres hit a 3rd home run on the day. 3 total in the doubleheader. Reds got a walk-off single from Yasiel Puig in the 10th inning. They beat the Cubs 6-5. Nationals 5-1 winners over the Mets. Patrick Corbin struck out 11 in 8 innings. Mentioned the Phillies fell to the Brewers. And Gio Gonzalez tonight beating Jake Arrieta 5-2 was the final in Philly. The Astros a 5-1 win in Detroit. Justin Verlander beating his former team at Comerica Park. He's now 7-1. He allowed just 2 hits in 7 innings in that one. The Rays a 1-0 win in Miami. A combined 7-hit shutout by 7 pitchers. I guess they used their opener tonight. And the Braves shut out the Cardinals 4-0. And that is your York Mitsubishi out-of-town scoreboard this evening. Final once again in our game, Sugarland 2, York 0. And the totals for the Skeeters, 2 runs, 5 hits, no errors. They left 4 on base. For the Revs, no runs, 2 hits, no errors, and they also left 4. The win goes to McGowan. He's 2-2. They lost to Dan Miner. He's 0-2. Save is Paulino's 4th. Time of the game, 2 hours, 39 minutes, with an 18-minute delay for the power failure, and played in front of 3,842 here at Constellation Field tonight. Our Coatman Kunkel Insurance Group player of the game, Pat Young. The Revs bullpen has frankly been awful to begin the season, but Young retired all 7 that he faced tonight, and that's a bright spot. And really, I mean, there are definite pieces that could make this a good unit. You just got to get things to fall into place. For Young, this was only his 2nd outing. Tago's been impressive. Mace has talked about using him in the 9th inning. Perez, more often than not, has been good. He's had a couple that have gotten away in painful fashion, but he really pitched well yesterday, even in that extra inning loss, and that was a second straight game for him. They didn't want to have to extend him the way that they did. Judy's been getting better. McGrain has had some success as kind of the younger guy out there at the moment. And Ian Thomas, they've actually been working on stretching out a little bit. Maybe he starts at some point. Jarrett Martin, I think everybody expects to get back to being dominant. It's just that arm slot thing that he's trying to fix. And, even with yesterday's game getting away, it was far better than what he had dealt with the night before. And then Robert Carson just, I guess, isn't in mid-season shape yet. He thought that he wasn't going to play this year. And as a result, he is down for now with a bicep strain, but did play catch today. And sounds like he avoided anything serious, knock on wood. So as bad as yesterday was, you could see how things could turn around if you can get guys, number one, build up. You have a couple that are just starting their seasons that are key pieces. Number two, iron things out like Martin, who's working on getting back to the release point that he had when he was so dominant 2 years ago, and then get them into the roles that they expect to be in. And yesterday just kind of unraveled when they had to pull Carson. Everybody moved up early, had a couple of guys on back-to-back days. I certainly don't think they wanted to use Diaz in his team debut in the situation that they did, and that didn't go well. But anyway, long story short, tonight we'll give it to Pat Young, who is our Kochman Kunkel Insurance Group player of the game. The Revs will try to rebound tomorrow night. We'll be on at 7:45 Eastern once again for the pregame. And Troy Tersey gets the start tomorrow, 1-1 record coming in. Left-hander Roy Merritt will go for the Skeeters. He enters play also with a 1-1 mark early this season. It's an 8:05 Eastern first pitch, and again, we're on at 7:45 for the pregame. We hope you can join us then. Coming up in about half an hour, 11:30 airtime. It's the start of our PGA Championship coverage presented locally by Heritage Hills Golf Resort. And at 11:30, it's the PGA Championship tonight. On this Wednesday, it's a half-hour preview show. We will have it every night, recapping each of the 4 rounds from our friends at Westwood One. And also beginning tomorrow throughout the day, daily updates on an hourly basis from the PGA Championship during our normal commercial breaks. So tune in for that throughout the day on WOYK. And this weekend we'll have some live hole-by-hole coverage as well. But the PGA Championship tonight, episode 1 of 5, is coming up tonight at 11:30. Until tomorrow, Daryl Henry saying so long from Constellation Field in Sugar Land. Once again, the final tonight, it's the Skeeters 2 and the Revs nothing. Thanks a lot for listening. Enjoy the rest of your evening. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 7:45 Eastern for the pregame, right here on Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 WOYK.
Thank you for listening to York Revolution Baseball on Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 WOYK. Catch the Revs all season on York's only place for local sports. Tune in 20 minutes before first pitch for a trip to the clubhouse with player interviews and the manager, Mark Mason, every game. Listen throughout the day for the Revs Report and check out 98.9 WOYK.com for highlights and features on York's pro team. York Revolution Baseball all season on Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 WOYK. First in York, first in sports. Now we return to our regularly scheduled programming already in progress on Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 WOYK, York.